you doing, guys? My name is Jeff Farrow. I am one of the preachers over at State Line Baptist Church in Rising Sun, Maryland. Our pastor there is Pastor Jim Reeves. I'd like to make this video talking about, I'm driving, by the way, if you can't tell. I'm a pizza delivery driver over at Domino's. But I want to make a video just concerning Bible college for young preachers. Bible college for young preachers. I'm taking about a semester and a half into on Bible college, and what I specifically want to talk about is, one, should you go to Bible college? Number two, should you go to an in-person Bible college? And number three, what's the advantages of doing online? Just to give a little bit of a background, I announced my call to preach around 13 years. Actually, it was my 13th birthday, October 11th, I guess 2014. It's when I announced my call to preach. I didn't start preaching for about a year later. It was the fall of the next year, so I was probably just 14 years old, or just about to be 14. And I'd been preaching ever since then. And so I had a decent bit of pulpit experience by the time I went to Bible college. About 2 years after I started preaching, I guess when I was 16, I started preaching on a more regular basis. And by more regular, I mean about once a month, which for a young preacher being 16 years old, preaching about once a month, I mean that was pretty good. Whether it was preaching at a Sunday school class or preaching, in the sanctuary for a youth revival or something like that, I was provided with a lot of opportunities to preach. It's one of the things I love about my pastor is he loves young preachers, and he loves to train young preachers. And then around when I turned, I guess, 18, yeah, because it was around COVID. It was around kind of when COVID started. I really started to pick up the pace of preaching. I had applied to Commonwealth Baptist College. I'm going to name off college names and just kind of my experiences in places. Know that none of this is sponsored by any college or any group. I'm giving out the names of things because I want to be truthful to you with my experiences, what were there, what I benefited from, and what I didn't benefit from. So I do want to be kind of true, to the people and the places that I was in. So I had applied to Commonwealth Baptist College around when I was 18, might have been 17 when I applied. But when I turned about 18, I started preaching a lot more often. I remember at the beginning of the year, I was scheduled back-to-back, I think 3 times in the month. Or it might have been 2 times in the month in the first week of the next month. So, I mean, it was 3 weeks in a row. I do remember that. So, I mean, I was picking up enough places where I was speaking, where I was preaching out. I was preaching at my home church about once every month, maybe sometimes twice every month. Once again, I mean, it may not seem like much, but for a young preacher, I mean, that's an encouragement to be trusted with that much. It's an encouragement to be allowed in the pulpit of other churches, all that. So, in August of 2020, I went to Commonwealth Baptist College. I made the decision to go to Commonwealth Baptist College because how do I want to word this? I guess I'm just going to make it a long story short. I felt that's kind of where the Lord was leading me at the time in my life, was to go away from my home area. And at the time, State Line Baptist Church, and to this day, very heavily involved in church planning. And so, I mean, church planning has always been a passion of mine. And So we were really getting through. We were really like punching holes in a lot of the work that we were doing down, in the counties that we were working for church planning. And so August 19th, I started at Commonwealth Baptist College, and I felt that was kind of the best place for me, because I am very, if you want to use this form of the word, fundamentally minded. I don't know really if that's the right word that you would want to use, but I didn't want to go to a college that gave into any sort of liberalism or any sort of modernism or anything like that. And it just kind of seemed to me that Commonwealth Baptist College was the best college, brick and mortar college to go to, to get some hands-on, or to get just the best education, to be in the best environment with the best standards, they were doing a great work down there. So I went down there, and I took my classes. I had kind of 2 basic classes, and then my other ones were my theology classes. So while I was down there, I took biblical separation. I took personal finance and English were my 2 kind of basic classes that I listed. But I took biblical separation, I took personal evangelism, and I took New and Old Testament survey. I do appreciate the time that I was at Commonwealth Baptist College, and I was down there from August to December, so about 5 months, kind of borderline 4 or 5 months. But something that I did notice in the student body was there was a lack of preaching in the student body. And don't get me wrong, there was preachers down there, and but there wasn't too many people that were actively preaching while they were there. If they were preaching, it was when they were on break or anything like that, or if they had to do it for a class. And I'm all fine with that, but for myself personally, something that I kind of found myself thinking to myself was, I went from preaching once a month, sometimes twice a month, and being invited to other churches, to I preach a little tiny opener in the beginning of my bus meeting, so that was just kind of something that weighed on me. I think one thing that's really important for young preachers, and kind of like I said before, experience is key. You can learn a lot of things in books, but there's nothing like doing it from the pulpit, being set in the fire. It's like soul winning. You can learn all these soul winning methods, but if you're not soul winning, you're probably not going to be that good at it. You don't have a chance to put it to the test. And that was basically my main reason for leaving Commonwealth Baptist College of December 2020. I can't say anything bad about the college other than just the lack of preaching opportunities for the student body. That is the only thing I can say that I was disappointed in. Now, of course, I'm not leaning one way or the other towards, go to college, don't go to college, because there is a case for not going to college either, as the churches in the Bible would, they would train up the men in the church who were called to preach. And so, I do heavily support that, and I do get that there is some people who go to churches, some preachers who go to churches where the pastor has his priorities wrong and isn't willing or doesn't have the time to train young preachers, and at that point the pastor is in the fault there. I do get why people support Bible college, and I don't not support Bible college. I'm in Bible college, but just the lack of kind of hands-on experience. Even the people up into the juniors and seniors, I didn't see too much evidence of preaching there, and so that was just my little bit of discontent there. Was just the fact that I lost a lot of my preaching time, and that weighed really heavy on me. And so after I came out of that semester, I enrolled in Independent Baptist Online College, and right now I'm loving where I'm at there, because I get to serve in my home church, and I do get to actively be part of the church plant ministry. Actually, as of this day, right now, it's Monday. I think it's the Monday the 18th of 2020. I'm actually going to preach at Calvary Baptist Bible Church, which is the church plant in Rock Hall, Maryland. I'm going to be preaching there this Sunday morning, and so I do really get to amp up my opportunities to be able to preach, which is amazing. And I get to serve in my home church, and I do still get to learn underneath of my pastor. I think for a young preacher, that is one of the most important things, is to be able to be in appointed service. I still do get to get my education, which is another great thing. So I do support online Bible college. Now what I want to do now is I kind of want to weigh out the pros and the cons of each, of going to a brick and mortar school, and going to an online college. And one thing I do want to say is with a online college, you do have to be regimented. I'm going to deliver this pizza real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. That pizza is delivered. So like I was saying before, you do have to be really regimented. And what I mean by that is you do have to have a good schedule. One of the best things about Bible college is that they did put you, going to a brick and mortar Bible college, is they did put you on a schedule. Schedule is important. Schedule is very important for a preacher, being able to schedule his time with his family, be able to schedule his time, I put on my seatbelt, being able to schedule his time for preaching, being able to schedule his time with counseling and church management and all of that. So that's one of the things that they did kind of implant. Every day I woke up at a certain time. They came into our rooms, they did a room check twice a week. And we had different responsibilities that we had to do each week, helping out with cleaning the rooms and stuff. And if you do online, you do have to be regimented with your schedule. You can't slack off, because there'll be a day where you just kind of feel lazy and you don't want to do something. So you just you decide not to do it, and that's dangerous, because then you're spending money and then you're not doing things, and even though it's work at your own pace, then you can just be lazy enough and just not get it done and not be pushed to do it. I don't think that it's I'm not part of the group that believes it is a requirement to get a degree to go to Bible college, and I say this because if you go online and you look at some of these independent Baptist churches that are looking for a preacher, you'll see in their listing, or in their want ad, when they're trying to find a pastor or someone to fill in the pulpit, they put down must have a bachelor's degree or must have a master's degree or something like that, and we don't see that in the Bible. So I think it's really dangerous to be part of the group that thinks that you have to have some sort of amount of ministry, or some sort of degree behind your name, I should say, to be able to be in a place of service. It's kind of forget where I was going with that. But anyway, yeah, so with a brick and mortar school, you get to attend, lots of conferences. One of my highlights of 2020 is that I got to go to the National Church Growth Conference. Of course, we were required to go since we were a student, but I had a great time at it. I learned tons of things. I got to hear some preachers that I've wanted to hear for a while. I've got to meet them in person. It was a great night. And I had great nights of fellowship, prayer with dorm mates and with people in college and stuff. But like I said before, it was just a lack of being able to have a personal ministry. Other than, they set you up with the bus ministry there, which, I had a great time with that, but at the same time, I went there to get more training as a preacher. And I learned something about a ministry, but not the ministry that I would be very much so the head of. Going with the online thing, just kind of going with the pros of there. You do get to make your own schedule as long as you're regimented. You can work at your own pace. I've almost got done as much as I did my first semester in about a month. My grade average is an A+. I'm not saying that to try to blow my head up or anything, but you really do get to work at your own pace and really be able to get down to the nitty gritty and stuff. And it's really nice too. Another advantage to colleges such as Independent Baptist Online College is you do get to pick your classes whenever you want. Whereas at a brick and mortar school, if they don't offer it that semester, they don't offer it at that semester, and you're just kind of stuck there until maybe a semester, the next semester, maybe 2 semesters after that, they'll offer that particular class. And it's nice, if I feel the need to maybe learn something in this subject, I can just go and sign up for that class now, and I can start taking it in the evenings or in the mornings or wherever I want to take it. Everything's pre-recorded. That is one really nice thing I do like about online college. Another nice thing, once again, ministry opportunities. I think, the best training for a preacher, isn't textbook training. I truly 100% believe that the best training for a preacher is, having hands-on ministry experience. I'm not just saying that as a hands-on learner. I've talked to hundreds of preachers, and all of them will tell you this, unless they're just trying to turn a buck. But they'll all tell you that hands-on ministry experience is just about unmatched. There's pros and cons to going to each type of college, and I'm not knocking either one of them. When I decided to go to Bible college, I talked to my pastor about it and told him that, I, felt, that God was leading me to go to Commonwealth Baptist College, and, he gave me some of the best advice, and this is what I'll tell all you young preachers, or preachers that are watching this who are considering possibly going to Bible college, and considering whether they should stay at their home church and go online, or whether they should go to a brick and mortar school and go there, or not do Bible college at all. He told me, he said, do whatever the Lord leads you to do. I might have an opinion about something at a brick and mortar school, and somebody else may have the opposite opinion. At the end of the day, you need to follow what the Lord's lead is for you. Just follow the Lord's lead on there. Another thing, last thing I'm going to end the video with is with not going to Bible college at all. And I think this is another way that you can get even more ministry experience, but there's a couple things that you do need to kind of keep in your head. I'm totally just made a wrong turn. Goodness gracious. There's a couple things that you do need to keep in your head if you decide not to go to Bible college and learn under your pastor. 9 out of 10 chances, even though the pastor should be actively working with you to train you, he isn't going to be actively working with you 24/7, 7 days a week. He just won't be able to fit that in his schedule. he's not going to sit down with you and have, 15, 20 hour a week lecture sessions with you. That's just not going to happen. Put this back into here. So he's just not going to have the time for that. So you are going to have to study your Bible to get your information. I mean, that's how it is anywhere else. And it's nice to have someone to teach you. Perhaps you're unclear on something that the Word of God says, and you just want somebody who is more seasoned to be able to expound on it just a little bit more. And that is the benefit of going to a Bible college, is being able to, kind of get the advice and kind of pull points that maybe you never thought of when you read that particular passage in the Word of God. But one thing I will say, if you decide not to go to Bible college, you'll be tempted to go online to get your doctrine. I think that's one of the most dangerous things you can do. Now, I don't mean go online and take a class by Bible or by an online Bible college, just auditing a class this is a place where it has reputable people and people that have preached in other fundamental churches, and people have a strong stance, and people who have a strong King James stance and a strong music stance and a strong Bible stance and a strong soul winning stance. But you can't just go online and look up Baptist preaching. You can't just go online and you look up what does the Bible say about this. I can look up what does the Bible say about going to heaven, and I may get a video by CatholicAnswers.com that will say that I need to go to Mass, and I need to take the Lord's Supper, I need to be baptized as an infant. None of that stuff is found in the Bible for salvation, and some of it's not even found in the Bible at all. But you don't want to take your doctrine from some nut job on the internet. And I know a person, this is the one name that I'm not going to name, but he came to our church. He was called to preach, but he got hooked up with somebody online out west who taught some really bad doctrine. And he left our church, moved out there, and went out there to go follow a lie, because just following wrong people. And who you follow in life, here's one thing that one of the phrases that we had to learn in biblical separation. I can decide who and what will influence me, but I can't decide on how they'll influence me. And young preachers, one of the things I encourage you is watch who does influence you, because you have this say who will influence you, but you don't know how they're going to influence you. So you don't want to go online and go get your doctrine from some nut job. You do want to go. You do want to go to people who have been in the ministry and have been, in doing the real deal work, and have been doing it the Bible way. So I think all three aspects, all three options that a young preacher can choose, that is not going to Bible college, going away to a Bible college, or staying online and doing it at home by way of the internet or correspondence course. I honestly, I think all three of them are great ways, but you do have to decide. Maybe for somebody who'd go to a brick and mortar school, I think one of the best candidates for people like that is people who haven't had that much ministry experience, who their pastor really wasn't able to train them at their home church, and they don't get preaching opportunities. I think that's a great option. I don't discourage it at all. Someone who doesn't have anybody to go soul winning with, or someone to teach them how to go soul winning. It's great to go to a place where you have to go soul winning every week. It's tons of great things about going to a brick and mortar school. That just didn't apply to me particularly, which is why I decided to leave. But I would also say the pros of going to an online college or college through correspondence. correspondence course is just the fact that if you do have more ministry experience and the Lord can use you in a place of ministry right now, whether it be part-time or full-time, you can partake in that a lot more than you would be able to at a brick and mortar school. And then just the only other thing I would say is if you have good resources, you don't want to do either of them. If you have good resources and you have possibly men in your own church who could teach you on different subjects. I know probably a lot of people who may be watching this go to churches who, you have some guy who's really, really, really tight with doctrine over here, and then you have one guy who's really, really tight with soul winning over here, and then your pastor can teach you your pastoral education classes himself. And learning in your own church is a great thing, but don't go online to some nut job that you don't know to get your doctrine. And that's kind of just all I got to say about the matter. I don't think any of these ways is wrong. I just think it has to fit the point of ministry experience where you're at, because one of the most important thing for a preacher is your ministry. So I really hope this helps some of you guys out. I pray that the Lord would bless you in your ministries as you continue on in the faith. And that's it.